Hi friends, today let's dive into the Hunger Games. The process used for choosing the tributes each year for the Hunger Games is called the reaping. All of the children from the district from the ages of 12 to 18 are brought into the main square. Their names are all written on slips of paper that are placed into a glass bowl. Depending on your age and your economic circumstances, you will have your name placed on multiple slips of paper, which increases your risks of being reaped. At the age of 12, you only have your name placed on one piece of paper. However, by the time you're 18, you have it placed on 7 slips of paper.
It's your first year, Prim. Your name's only been in there once. They're not going to pick you.
If you want, you can opt to take out tessera. When you elect to have tessera, you're adding 1 extra slip of paper for each person of your family you take tessera for. Tessera is a year's supply of grain and oil for 1 person.
Don't take any extra food from them. It isn't worth putting your name in more times.
So if you have 3 family members and you choose to support them all through the tessera system, you would have 3 extra slips of paper with your name on them. However, the tessera slips are cumulative, which means they go up every year you use them. This obviously means there's loads of slips of paper in each glass bowl. Or so you would think. Look at that bowl, it's practically empty, which begs the question, are the reapings actually rigged? The first thing I wanted to do when researching this video is to see whether the glass bowl is drastically much more empty than it should be or whether I'm just exaggerating. So I went out and bought myself a reaping bowl, as you do. I actually found online a listing for the prop from the movie that says the dimensions of the glass bowl. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a glass bowl that was the same size as the one used in the movie. So what I did is I adjusted the sizes of the slips of paper accordingly so we still get a good visual of how full the bowl should be. I worked out using this scene that in District 12 there's about 200 girls who are of reaping age. On average, between the 12 and the 18-year-olds, there are 4 slips of paper per child in the bowl. However, we need to take into account that many of these children would be relying on tessera. We can assume that on average each child would take out 2 tessera per year. This allows us to compensate for the merchant class children who wouldn't take out tessera without ignoring the fact that the poorer children from big families may need to take out tessera from multiple family members. Again, averaging this out over all the children, it means that each child would have, on average, 12 slips of paper with their name. 12 slips of paper times 200 girls is equal to 2,400 slips of paper, which in my bowl looks like this. We can agree that this bowl is quite a bit fuller than the bowl we see in the movie. I mentioned earlier on the listing of the prop. On that listing, it says that the bowl was full with 100 plus slips of paper. However, from the math I just described, we know that we need 24 times more than this. This means we can easily confirm that the reapings definitely are rigged. A difference of times 24 between what the reapings have and what they should have is a huge difference and not just a small accident. But why would they need to rig the reapings? And if they're rigged, why are they allowed to have volunteers? And more importantly, why is nobody pointing out the fact that the bowl doesn't have nearly enough slips of paper in it? Well, rigging the reapings actually makes sense for the capital. By hand-picking a specific tribute, they have full control over who goes into the arena. This means that if anybody is showing signs of rebellion or being dangerous in any way, the capital can quell this by sending them or their child into the arena. For example, it's possible therefore that Prim's reaping was actually rigged. This would have been used to punish Katniss and potentially by extension their dead father for hunting illegally.
It's reaping day. The place is crawling with peacekeepers.
I was gonna sell it. Some peacekeepers.
Of course you were.
Like you don't sell to peacekeepers.
No, not today.
By choosing who goes into the arena, the capital can also ensure a more interesting Hunger Games from the point of view of the capital citizens. They can purposefully choose tributes who would have weird or different interactions together, which would make the reality TV show more entertaining.
Are there any surprises that we can expect this year?
It's really hard to tell just from a reaping, but I think this is a very interesting mix.
As for why the capital allows volunteering when they're obviously trying to control the reapings, it is possible that some of the volunteers are also rigged in advance. This is most likely true in the career districts. However, the capital does need to allow volunteering in all of the districts, including the ones where they aren't controlling the volunteering process.
Whenever you have a volunteer from an outlying district, that's something you can't ignore.
This is because a huge part of the Hunger Games is the idea of hope.
I mean, if we just wanted to intimidate the districts, why not round up 24 of them at random and execute them all at once? It'd be a lot faster. Hope.
President Snow, and by extension the Capitol, are using the idea of hope in the Hunger Games to help control the districts. If people can hold the hope that even though their child is raped, someone else might still volunteer for them, it makes them more easier to control. Additionally, if a population feels that they have some kind of control over some aspects of their lives, they're less likely to revolt.
Hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear.
Even if the entire country of Panem has realized that the reaping balls are definitely not as full as they should be, no one's gonna say anything. Going up against or questioning the Capitol is a huge no-no. It's the best way to make sure you're gonna get punished or executed. This is why nobody questions the suspiciously empty reaping balls. But how exactly does the rigging system even work? Candace points out when they're in District 11 that the population that she sees is huge. She explains that there's no way that this population and the one she sees on TV every year for the reaping are the same groups. She realizes that the children she sees on TV every year for the reaping are only a small pool of all of the children from that district. She questions whether this means that the reapings are actually already planned in advance. Once the game makers know which tribute they want to have from that district, they just make sure that that kid is in the special pool that goes to the square. On this note though, if we look at District 12, we can see that this pre-selection process probably actually happens everywhere. Even in the smallest district of Panem, District 12, that only has a population of about 8,000 people, the amount of children we see at the reapings is not a realistic amount. Even if we stretch it and say that there's 210 girls and 210 boys who are reaping age, that's 420 people who are between the ages of 12 and 18. On average, that gives us about 60 people per age range. This average would continue through all the ages, so for example, there's about 60 people who are 25 years old, etc. However, to get a population of 8,000 with 60 people in each age range, that means the lifespan in District 12 is 133 years old. Considering the living conditions in District 12, it is highly unlikely anybody makes it to this age. Which means, on average, we need more than 60 people per age bracket. Which means the children that we see for the reaping do not represent all of the children from that age range in District 12. Going back to the listing for the prop from the movie, it says that all of the slips of paper in the bowl have the name Primrose Everdeen on them. This was obviously done so that the actress who plays Effie can just pick out any random piece of paper and it will still read Primrose Everdeen.
Primrose Everdeen.
However, it could be a hint at how the rigging actually works. It's possible that once the Capitol has decided which child they want to have as their tribute, they just put that one kid's name on the 100 slips of paper. That way they're sure that that kid will get reaped. So in Prim's case, it's possible that her name was actually on all of the slips of paper as a punishment to the Everdeen family for their illegal activities. But why don't the Capitol just put the right number of slips into the glass bowl? We learn in the books that all of the slips of paper are actually handwritten, which means they're also likely hand-folded, hand-taped, and then placed into the bowl manually. Ben and I spent 7 hours putting the slips of paper in our bowl. We were not writing anything on them, and we gave up taping very quickly. My guess is the Capitol doesn't bother putting 2,400 slips into a glass bowl because it just takes too long to do. More realistically though, they probably don't fill up the bowls because it's more aesthetically pleasing than having this massive mess. Additionally, if they choose to fill up all of the reaping bowls accurately, in bigger districts like District 11, they would need a massive glass bowl. Do you believe that the reapings really are rigged? And if so, of all the tributes we know, who do you think was rigged to go into the games and why? Please tell me in the comment section down below. And until next time, happy bubbles! Thanks so much for watching this video, and thank you to my Patreon bubblers for supporting the channel. If you want to see any of my other Hunger Games videos, you can click on the box on the left to find out if the tributes for the Court of Quell were orchestrated, or you can click on the box on the right to find out my explanation about how volunteering works. Thanks for liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell.